Beyond the Blue is the title track of a brand new album featuring the vocals and the vibes of Big Youth. We often talk about music uniting the world, and I'm always banging on about how reggae music has taken over the whole world. Today's special guest is Martin Nathan, aka BrainDamage, a French dub pioneer. BrainDamage has 14 albums to his credit and over 750 live dub performances, as well as being the producer of this album. Martin, aka BrainDamage, I love that. Welcome to Vibes FM, and thank you for agreeing to do this interview with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Now, the making of this album is by no means a simple story. So I thought, would let the music guide us through. And the first thing I think would be to talk about Big Youth. I was a lot younger than I am now, and I was actually at not rock steady, I was at a rockabilly party when I first heard Big Youth, I Roy, You Roy, and Dennis Al Capone. And I can honestly say I was a dance DJ at the time, and it completely changed the course of my life. And so I wonder, where were you when you first heard Big Youth sing?
I have to tell a little bit about my own personal story and reggae music. At first, I used to be a big fan of punk rock, UK mostly, UK punk rock scene. I have a brother 6 years older than me, and I was a child, and he used to make me listen to tons of, once again, things from that UK punk rock scene, and of course the major artists like the Clash or the Ruts. And I remember me as a child, once again, telling him, I love it, I love that energy, but these weird, softer tracks are really interesting. And of course, I was telling him about those reggae influenced songs by all those artists. And this is how I discovered a really early reggae music through what has been done in the UK by those
Oh, by
artists.
the punk bands, yeah.
Exactly. That was my first approach. And then after I discovered what has been done in the UK too by Adrian Sherwood, On New Sound, and that kind of thing. And then I discovered what has been done in Jamaica and Big Youth, for instance. And many years later, I understood more about the link between the punk rock scene here in Europe and Jamaican artists. And Big Youth is someone that has been part of this link. As you probably know, it has been something between two communities in the UK, or something happened definitely by the end of the 70s and the 80s. And this is what interests me the most, I think, about the meeting of these two scenes. This is something, I don't know, fabulous with a social, I don't know, something in common, probably. It's a shout. And Big Youth is one of the first with that, I don't know, that way of telling things about social issues in Jamaica. Just right after Uroy, but Uroy was mostly a DJ. I don't know, not specially focused on social matters like Big Youth. And this is what he brought for me. It was very, very important for me. So yeah, that is why many years later, I really wanted to do something with this guy.
Definitely. And of course it was a whole team that you built, and I suppose working together with, I mean, it's 14 albums in, and so you got into music. It's always been a sort of a dub reggae vibe.
Yes, but on each album it takes a different shape, I would say. As it can be influenced by many other styles than reggae and dub, and this is, to my opinion, what is very important in any style. It's to make it evolve and meet some other influences, and to keep keep it alive. I don't want I am French. Okay, I am not from the UK. I am not from Jamaica. So what I'm going to do is, with my feeling, with my own culture, with my own background, and with all the things that are going to influence me, but I have to keep myself as I am. So this is why you will find different things on each albums, but there is something, they all have something in common, probably, that I don't know, that bone that comes from Jamaica, definitely, and especially on this one, of course.
Of course. You're tuned to Vibes FM, and we're in conversation with Martin Nathan. Then I get to talk about and play Warwicker Hill.
Sure. Okay.
Now, a very key part of the story is Samuel Clayton, both senior and junior. So if we could start with Samuel Clayton Senior, he was a member of the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari and worked with Count Ozzy, and here you hear Big Youth pay tribute to him in the song. But he also had a son who you met and were very good friends with. Can you explain how all of this weaves into the story of this album for us?
So many things to say. The father himself is a public figure, was, because he passed away a couple of years ago, a public figure in Jamaica, and he is known worldwide by any fans of reggae music, of course, because he took part of the roots of everything. We are talking about history here. We are talking about the mystic revelation of Rastafari, Naya being a thing, and I don't know, one of the root of Rasta, one of the root of Jamaican music itself. Yeah, I think a lot of people heard about him already, and what he brought to the rest of the world through Jamaican music and through what happens during the 60s, 70s, and 80s was incredible. And I think a lot of people wrote books about that, and we are still wondering, how is it possible even right now that this little rocky island is so influenced worldwide? It's incredible. It's unique. That's about his father. And the story here is more about his son, Samuel Clayton Jr., which more than 20 years ago set himself in my hometown city, actually, in my hometown. So of course it's a small town. So after a couple of days, we met each other. Obviously, we know a lot about his father, but him maybe we know less. Although he was someone very, very special. He was a friend since more than 20, 25 years, something like that. We've been through a lot together. We have done a lot of things as friends, but professionally as well. We've been on the road together. He was a sound engineer, talented sound engineer, working worldwide with bands like Steel Pulse, Toots and the Maytals, Burning Spear, and you name it. But not only reggae bands, by the way, like bluesmen and all around the world, always on the road. So very talented and recognized. But as well, he had another talent, which was, he was the best to make the link between European artists, let's say, and Jamaican artists, and to make things happen, to make projects like this one with Big Youth and BrainDamage happen, because it's not that easy for Jamaican people and let's say French people to work together. There are big differences between the two cultures. So yeah, he used to make things possible, nothing less, which is quite precious. So yes, is it the right moment to tell the story? What happened?
Yes.
Okay.
So sadly, he passed away during
He passed away.
the
He passed away. We've been okay. I try to be brief because there are so many so many things to say. 5 or 6 years ago, one of our last projects we've done together, we went to Jamaica to record this BrainDamage album called Walk the Walk. with Jamaican elders like Horace Andy, Winston McAnuff, Willie Williams, Ras Michael, Kid Asai. And by this time it was amazing. We spent with a third producer called Stephen Stewart, who played keyboards with Two Tons of Metals and same kind of bands, Burning Spear, same kind of thing. And so the three of us released that project, and the thing went so well that we promised ourselves to do a BrainDamage Jamaican series with Samuel Clayton and Stephen Stewart, guesting Jamaican artists. And by this time, Big Youth was supposed to be included in that very first project. And he went late, actually. He went back from tour in the US or something, and he went back to the island on the very last day of my stay. So it wasn't possible. It wasn't possible. We were disappointed, the three of us, the four of us. Big U himself was disappointed. Then 5 years later, we decided, Samuel Clayton and me, to produce a whole album with Big Youth. Which was a good idea. So we went to the island, but unfortunately we went there last year, exactly a year ago, which means, let's say March, let's say, that's it. I don't know if you remember where we were last month of March, 2020.
Yeah, just as the pandemic came.
Exactly. It was the beginning here in Europe, because we all heard about China, and we heard about Italy as well, which began to collapse as well. So we went to Jamaica. We flew Sam and I to Jamaica, to Kingston, and as soon as we reached the island, everything was closed. Donald Trump just closed the US borders, and it was quite particular. So it was quite weird, actually, of course, just like all around the world. And then after a couple of days, just after we met Big Youth a couple of minutes to set everything and to set a meeting at Encore Studios to do in Kingston, still in Kingston, to do takes and to start the work. And meanwhile, I received a phone call from home telling me that my son, 10 years old, was sick. So at this point, everything was closing down, and my son was sick. Everything was getting difficult. I said to Sam, you know what? I have to go back to France. I have to. So I asked him if he wanted to come back with me. He said, no, I'm going to do the work. We have the takes in 2 days. I'm staying here with Stephen, blah, blah, blah. I asked him a couple of times, but he said no. I caught a flight. And as soon as I reached, believe it or not, my front door, I started to cough like that. So I called my family without entering home. You know what? I'm going to lock myself up in my studio just for a couple of hours. We never know. It's probably true or something like that, because of the Jamaican AC or something, you know.
Yeah.
4 hours later, it was a big fever for me. So I called home. I said, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going home. And I instantly called Jamaican and I asked Sam, I feel very funny. It's probably a flu, but I wanted to know, how are you? I'm fine. We are going to the studio tomorrow, Stephen. No problem. And then they went to the studio. We did a part of the takes together, me on WhatsApp and them there in Encore Studio, 2 or 3 days or something like that. And then nothing more. No news from Jamaica. So I start to call them back, and I got Sam on the phone after 2 or 3 days. He had this low voice, weird. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I'm sick." I said, "What?" "Yes, and Stephen is sick too." I said, "What? You are both of you are sick, and you went to the studio. You are doing it's. Please stay at home. It might be the virus." We knew nothing about the virus by this time.
Yeah.
The thing is, probably we caught the virus on our way to Jamaica on the plane without knowing it, of course. And then a couple of days later, I learned that Sam was at the hospital, but I didn't know which one. So I had to call everywhere in Jamaica, including the Minister of Health or something like that, to find him. And then I found him, and yeah, I had the opportunity to talk with him. It was a little bit weird because he was sick, and then the rest is 1 week after he passed away because of the virus. So that's it. What more can we say? This is how the virus works. So yeah, at some point I had to. One of the last chats I had with him, it was like, okay, I'm going to be ready next week to finish the work, because he wanted to go back to the studio with Big Youth for one last song or something like that. So we are going to do this project no matter what. We are going to finish this thing. So, and right after he passed away, his wife as well asked me to finish the project. So this is what I did. I spent the following next month to work on that album with Samuel Clayton spirit above me, of course. So it was, to be honest, it was difficult. It was difficult to finish this album in such conditions, but at the same time, I had to do it. I had to pay tribute to Sam and to all the work we've done together. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit long, but
it's fine. It's fine. It's honestly, I'm amazed you can even speak about it. And it's lovely, I think, to have it as an album that is a musical tribute.
It is.
Because probably after some time you won't have to say anything, because the little riffs are in there, the little freestyles and the little things from the studio will act perfectly as a tribute to the man that was there doing his work.
That's the idea, and especially we just heard Warwick Hill, and this one is really important for me because Big Youth himself is paying tribute to Samuel Clayton Sr. on this one, and he's telling us about the old days when he used to play music with him up on the hill, which is already precious for me. And by the end of that very song, I put Samuel Clayton Jr. sample that I had in my archives, telling us about his father and the loves he had for him. And for me, this whole Warwick Hill thing is very touching, deep, and it really tells something about Jamaican history and about my personal history and Samuel Clayton Jr. history.
Of course. And did finishing the album act to sort of ease the pain, or did it amplify it?
It's difficult. It's a process. I think I had a few things to do to move forward with this story, and one of them was to finish this album. Definitely.
Brilliant. You're tuned to Vibes FM, and we're in conversation with Martin Nathan. Then we get to play I Pray Thee. Now, I Pray Thee was the first single from the album. And again, it's the whole Anchor Studio vibe and Big Youth. It just, when anybody says Anchor to me, I can just visualize the whole, it's almost the Rolls Royce of studios. If you could go to any studio in the world, not even just in Jamaica, I think the quality that you get from Anchor Studio is just second to none. How were you in the studio at any time, or was it all on WhatsApp?
As I said, I wasn't there. That was one of my deepest regrets. I had to fly back to France just 2 days before the takes, so I wasn't there. So yeah, once again, the things wasn't supposed to go down that way. It was, and there's a lot of things that, but I probably it's like that for a lot of people all around the world. I mean, we were in the middle of a pandemic, so no, I didn't had the opportunity to go to Encore Studio. No, to get the takes, yes, but I wasn't there.
Wow, that's amazing. But I we all learn to do some different Zoom and Teams and online things, and again, it's testament to creativity and how do they say it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
The thing is, we have to keep on doing things, and we have to keep on being alive, and no matter how, and we have to hope that things are going to get back to normal as soon as possible, of course. And the plan was to bring Big Youth to Europe to share stages as well. Let's wait a little bit
Yeah,
more. And
before
so
the time.
about that song, I pray this is the only not in released song of the album. I mean, lyrics wise, because it has been a hit. I think it's 72 on the Sata Masagana rhythm from Big Youth. So this is a classic. So that's why I decided to change drastically the music behind, introducing some jazz influences mostly, and a very quiet rhythm behind. The idea was to do things differently, and I love the way the two atmospheres, I don't know, went together. I think it's quite interesting for me to try that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's one of the amazing things about, I say, the music uniting and people pushing boundaries musically, is that I think like Janine is quite good at jazz on dub almost as a style, and she
Mhm.
reinterpreted some Sizzler songs in one of
I
her
heard about
projects
that.
in a jazz scat style.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
yeah.
worked amazingly, and it made me think of that when I listened to that.
That's amazing to see that with reggae music and dub music especially, we can combine a whole amount of, I don't know, different things, different moods. This is what I like. And you were telling people about the 14 albums that I've been produced so far. Each of them will be different because of that, because of this will to try things, to combine, to, I don't know, that's what keeps me alive actually after all those years.
And what was your hope and your ambition for this album in terms of who it would reach?
I don't know about that. Honestly, I don't know about that. That's not something I'm thinking about when I produce my albums. I'm just producing music, and I'm sharing time with people. I try to have fun. Honestly, that's even still after more than 20 years. This is it. What could I say? I don't expect so many things from, I don't know, feedbacks. Of course, it's yeah. I expect people that I'm working with to be happy at first, including Big Youth. And if he's happy enough, and if it's possible, I would like him once again to join me to Europe to tour together, and I would be happy. That's what I did with Willie Williams, for instance, or with Harrison Stafford from Groundation, or various artists, um, because we're living in a world, as you said, Zoom meetings, a lot of we are doing things through online and through screens all the time. So the real reward for me is to do things flesh and blood with people on stage and people in front of me. That's and of course I would be more than happy if a lot of people could listen to this album quietly in their I don't know, living room, or of course, but I don't know about expectation. No speculation anyway.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was exciting to see one, a Big Youth album, two, a Big Youth album with new material,
Exactly, exactly.
and three, I have to say, a Big Youth album with new material presented so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you. I, I'm doing
Because
my
the
best.
creativity does not stop with the music. The whole album package, I have to say, your website, somebody has crafted, and I know it's terrible radio, but someone has crafted graphics and line drawings and pencil drawings of all of the people that have come together to make this project. And it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm trying to do things this way since day one, actually. Working with artists for album covers, for yeah. That's very important for me, of course. That's the whole world, a whole universe I try to develop, mostly by myself, but people are working with me, especially on this last video of 2020. I pray that is online. I tried to do, as you said, a whole package, a whole, I don't know, package, maybe it's not the right word, but it's very important. And most of all, I think that through the music, I try to explain each time on each album a story. Something has to come out of the music. Each time it takes two different readings. I don't know if it makes sense in English. You can just listen to the music itself, and there is always something behind. Unfortunately, on this one, what's behind is a little bit hard, let's say. But this Beyond the Blue album is not. I want him to be not a sad album only. It's full of energy. We are talking about a new Big Youth album. Big Youth is full of energy. It's full of, I don't know. I have the feeling that he's 17 sometimes. And all the people that I talk with about Big Youth in Jamaica said, "Oh, Big Youth," and they got the same smile, like, "Oh, the guy is full of energy." Blah, blah. So it is this energy. It is here in the album as well. So I don't know. It's very important. The whole thing.
It doesn't come over as sad. It actually comes over as wonderful to see Big Youth treated with such reverence and respect, and then in turn him to offer the same to the other people, particularly to Samuel Clayton and his son. So it doesn't seem sad. And one of the things actually that I found, and I've always found about Big Youth, is that it actually makes it very danceable, and it is actually the sort of music that and dance music is one thing, but reggae music is even better than dance music, I think.
And him himself on stage is like like a young man, even right now. It's once again, I wish I could have more time to spend with him. I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen with next month, and let's hope that things get back to normal.
Tell the future. And how did you come to be called BrainDamage?
Actually, it was a radio show at first, BrainDamage. I was in charge in my hometown, Saint-Etienne, a little radio show, but I think it lasted something like more than 10 years during the 90s. And it was called BrainDamage. It's weird, but it's because of Pink Floyd, the Pink Floyd song from Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, totally I wondered if it had been Dennis Bovell album.
Since then, no, that's also the opportunity for me to say that we are talking about bass music, dub, reggae, ska, rocksteady, which are a big part of my life. But I'm also interested by so many other styles and so many artists from all around the world. And honestly, the more I get old, the more I'm interested by things, I don't know, totally new for me, which is the case for jazz music, for instance. When I was a teenager, that was the worst thing for me. No, it's jazz music, no. And many years later, I'm discovering a whole world. I mean, it's been a couple of years now, but that's an example. So yeah, the name BrainDamage came from Pink Floyd almost 30 years ago. You know, when you choose a name and the project you're leading is been going on and on, and then 20 or 30 years after, you keep the same name. I'm happy with it, but it's always weird when I say that it comes from Pink Floyd. Anyway, a lot of things are interesting me, and I think that's the key of the longevity of my project. It's because I'm still myself too, like a young man, discovering things around me.
Exactly, and every album changes, and you learn something new on every album. Exactly. I also love the name of the label, Jarring Effects. Was that Jarring your intention?
It's not my label. I mean, I'm working with them, but I didn't choose their name. You know what it means, Jarring Effects?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because in France, I have to sometimes they don't know. So yeah, I love that name, of course, and I love these people as well. It's been more than 15 years we've been working together, and it's running an independent label right now in 2021 is not an easy thing. Yeah? So I give thanks, to them for their work, because it's not that easy.
Now that I said I know what it means, and you've said that you explain it to French people, I feel that I should let you explain what it means in the way you would.
It's supposed to be the sound that comes from a crowd protesting in the street. Is that it? Not at all.
No, I might not have explained it that way.
Please tell me your.
So jarring is when something makes you wince.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that it's kind of experimental sounds. So I completely got that wrong.
That's the way they wanted people to understand it. Maybe.
Yeah. And it may be so. I'm so glad I asked.
That's the thing. That's great.
I'm so glad I asked. That's brilliant. Now you actually are back on the road, aren't you, doing the big little sessions?
Yes. So I try to two things. I try to adapt with the contexts, because here, I guess it's the same in the UK. Here in France, things are slowly reopening, including venues, but it goes slow, and we understand why, because we have to be very careful, I guess. And in the middle of this, I had to. We all have the desire to to come back to a normal life. So it's not.
Oh yes.
But I wanted to go back on the road, just like all other artists, and I decided myself to do little session, big little sessions with only 10 people, 10 people in the room, nothing more. And it's just not, of course, I'm playing several times a day, and I stay, let's say 2 or 3 days in each cities for people to get the opportunity to come, because 10 people it's definitely not a lot of people. So for me, it's quite an amazing experience to do that. I'm trying to make the best of the situation, let's say, because it's been more than 20 years again that I'm producing myself on stages, and this is my job. I love that. I love doing that. But it's me on stage, people in front of me, and the more years are passing, the less I'm talking to people, actually. And this is the opportunity to get back to something, I don't know, more. But I play with proximity. I talk with people that talk with me.
Yeah, connection. I think it's human connection.
Yeah, of course. And this is what we need. This is exactly what we need right now. Probably the most important thing, to see people in front of you, flesh and blood once again, and to talk to each other. Not for screen. I'm sorry. I'm happy to talk to you right now.
I completely understand.
But it would be better in front of in a pub.
Yes. Exactly. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to us, because I know you're on tour and I know you're working really hard. And I just wanted to say that we're going to play out with "Good to Talk." And there's a line in that song that you do epitomize. And it is, "The greatest love is when you have joy in your soul."
This is Big Youth. He still has it. What can I say? Do you want me to comment this joy? Actually it's a good way to finish.
I don't want you to comment. It actually is. What I was meaning about you, because when I asked earlier about your music, it's actually what you do it for. So the point I was trying to make is that we all have the same reason for doing it. And I think that's what makes it great.
Joy in our soul, then. Joy in our soul, it will be. Yeah. We have to keep it. We have to keep hope, and that's why it's very, very important, very nice to do projects and to meet people like Big Youth, because in one sentence like that, he can warm your heart, and this is what he does. This is what he is. He is definitely someone special.
Brilliant. And before I let you go, can we just let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you, where should they look for you?
Everywhere, I guess, everywhere online. I'm always happy when people are going to visit a website more than social medias, but social medias, they will find us as well. Yeah, I think most of record shops should have this Beyond the Blue album, even in the UK. So if not, yeah, online, anything is possible now, quite easily. And thanks to Jarring Effect, the record company, to do an amazing work for that.
Yeah, brilliant. And thank you also to Duncan Ballantyne for the link up.
Sure.
It honestly is an absolutely lovely album. I was
Thank
so
you.
happy to get it. I'm so grateful to Duncan. And I love what you did, and your bravery and your spirit.
Thank you for that, and thank you for the support and for helping me. And
Yeah, it's wonderful.
again,
Please keep in touch, and please let me know everything that you do.
sure. Once again,
Lovely.
thank you for having me.
Oh no,
I'm
you're
sorry
so welcome. No, don't. It's actually funny.
Yeah, it is. But I tried to warn you, huh?
You did well. Listen, I would be the same. Talk to
you soon.
It's all right.
Thank
Yes,
you.
lovely to meet you. And hopefully I'll see you in human flesh soon.
Sure.
All right.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you.